Hello and welcome to the Daily Edit. I'm your host, Todd Middlebrooks, and today we're going to talk about editing before the edit. Actually, editing before even the capture. We're going to discuss perspective. Stay tuned. So the original intent of this show was to help people share their vision based on what they capture through the edit. And so today I wanted to, and I guess the original intent was to be a daily edit, but I think it's kind of transitioned to every day I try to capture something, or at least every week I have captured something, and I'll share that edit on this show. This week it happened to be perspective. So how you view things and the angle and perspective at which you actually capture images. Perspective is kind of twofold. I was walking around my house, around the property, and it's always interesting to look at either the house or a view from an angle that I'm not used to, I guess, that I don't typically view our home from. So I just kind of walked around the property, primarily because the grass was looking good and I was barefooted. I just kind of wanted to walk around the property. But I did see the house from a different perspective. And so it's fascinating to see things from a different point of view. And it's important to capture things from multiple perspectives because you never know which one is going to be the best perspective or one that you might not have realized was better than your initial intent. And that's kind of what happened here. So I was walking around the property, and as I walked past this part of we've cleared a lot next to our house and kind of cleaned it up. And this is an area where runoff was kind of, predominant and was washing away some of the dirt. And so our landscape crew put in a rock kind of path for preventing runoff, and just kind of it's got a aesthetic look to it as well. But I noticed that from standing height for me, which is about 6 feet, this it had a certain look, but it wasn't necessarily pleasing. My initial capture was just to stand there and point my camera down at this feature in our yard, and then I had the idea, well, why don't I lower myself and make this a more prominent feature in the photograph? And so all I did here was kneel down, held the camera lower, incorporated some of the lawn into the photo, and made that rock feature a more prominent subject in the photo. And it created a lot more interest. It now has leading lines. You can tell that the rock feature is kind of the subject in this photo. It follows somewhat the rule of thirds. There's the cloud and sky offer perspective as well. But that would not have been possible had I not taken that second photo. So again, twofold. I was in a different position on our property, and so I had a different perspective from where I was standing. And also, the initial shot that I took, this one was not very impressive or pleasing or really that interesting. So I changed my perspective. I looked at the same subject through a different lens, if you will, a different mind's eye, and I made this capture. And this is before any editing. So certainly, we could edit this photo and create even more interest. But just shifting that perspective. Again, sometimes it's taking a few steps to the left or right. Sometimes it's orienting the camera horizontally instead of vertically, or vice versa. And then sometimes it's dropping down a few feet from a 6 foot eye level pointing down to, a foot off the ground, near ground level, shooting level with the subject. So again, perspective in photography, in life, take a step one way or the other. Look high, look low. Try to gain a different perspective. Everybody have a great weekend. Shift your perspective a little bit, and I'll see you again next week. Thanks.